Well, I don't know why, but Instagram must have known it's the new season of the Toronto Beer Podcast with me, your host, Chris Schreier, because it gave me a whole new countdown thing. Obviously, that changed in the past 2 weeks because I haven't seen it before and I just saw it now. How about that? How about this? We're back, baby. We are back. Check out this theme from our friends, the Curry Brothers. Yes, the more things change, the more they stay the same. That, of course, was our friends, the Curry Brothers, pride of Gravenhurst, Ontario. Love those guys. Hey, what's going on? How's your Canada Day? Did you watch some fireworks? I sure did. Down at the beach, just down the street from my house. It was delightful. We had a great weekend, too. Had a good weekend this past weekend, too. Didn't get to play any rugby. Yeah, the Toronto Dragons folded their twos side, so I got canceled. Not like the way that, celebrities get canceled. Just my game. My game didn't do anything. Didn't touch anyone inappropriately or anything. It just got canceled the regular way. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Let's have a beer because you know what? I'm feeling it. Feeling it. And it's been a minute. And hey, we got a classic here. This is something I guarantee you I've done on the podcast at some point in the past. But we're doing it again tonight because I happened to pick some up. And golly, if I don't like this beer here, this is Nickelbrook Brewing, double BRs, a real mouthful. This is their Headstock IPA. Of course, if you're watching the video, you've already seen it. If you are listening on headphones or a high fidelity stereo setup, of course, you're waiting for that knowledge, but now you have it. Nickelbrook Headstock IPA. This is a West Coast IPA, and I am here for it. Kids at home, I got you covered. Don't worry. Might be season 13, but I remember what the deal is. Ooh, look at that beer. Look at it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, like amber honey. A little hazy, but you can still see through it, just not super well. Touching on maybe orange in the middle, but very much a nice deep honey ambery kind of color. Nice tight white head too. If you're watching the video, look at that bad boy. Woo, that's all right. Very active carbonation. Pardon me. Full disclosure, I was drinking these yesterday. Full disclosure, I'd had like 8 Czechvar first. I wasn't paying that much attention. So is this one blind? Definitely not blind. This is a beer I've had before. Is it a beer I've had before recently? Yes, as noted yesterday. Was I kind of drunk when I was drinking it? Yeah. So last time I had it, clear-headed, couldn't tell you. Let's do it. Ooh. So just right off the top, sniffing it. It smells like so many good memories. Oh, that's nice. Very earthy. Piney forest floor. Citrusy. You get some grapefruit juice. You get some orange juice. Also peel from both. Pithy, maybe. I know you can't smell bitterness, but this is one of those times when everything that I'm smelling is informing me this is going to be bitter. Sometimes that happens and then it doesn't happen. But I do know from experience this one is going to pack a wallop. There's some malty notes. Maybe a touch of crystal. That would make sense given the style. And the vintage. So I got quite a little catch going now all of a sudden. Don't know what that's from. Who knows? Hey, let's take a drink. Apricots, maybe a little peachy apricot-y. Immediately very bitter. Again, dank, piney, resinous. A lot of forest floor going on there. But that first impression, I think apricot. Such a nice creamy mouthfeel too. Nice weight to the beer. Might get a little wheat in there. That would explain the weight too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some wheat in that malt bill. Also pretty sure there's some crystal, but only a little bit if that's the case. There's just enough sweetness that you get a bit of a malty thing, which might not be crystal. It's not that I'm specifically tasting crystal. It's just given how bitter this beer is. That's my assumption. Maybe some crystal or some honey malt or something in there. Not sure what the can says. I just looked at the front, but I'll turn it around in a second. Definitely very evergreeny. Yeah, not squeaky, but that is a aggressively bitter IPA, as it should be, being a West Coast style. Bear in mind, in Ontario right now, there's probably more than 3, but the 3 West Coast IPAs that I can think of off the top of my head are Headstock from Nickelbrook, Bone Shaker from Amsterdam, Lone Pine from Sawdust City. All beers in regular rotation. Not so much the Headstock, if I'm honest, in my icebox. That mainly comes down to the fact that I only really see Headstock when I'm at the LCBO. This, in fact, was ordered from the beer store via Uber Eats on the weekend, where you can also get it. But like, for instance, I don't think I see it at my local grocery store, and I buy a lot of beer there. That's neither here nor there. Other West Coast IPAs, I feel like Godspeed might make a West Coast. The name of it, which would certainly be in Japanese, is escaping me. There was also that Great Lakes, what's Citra? It was the Superdelic. Karma Superdelic, is that what it was called? I think that's what it was called. And it was definitely a West Coast IPA. Never got confirmation on that, but I'm almost positive it was a West Coast. Anyway, the point is to say, this is a very good West Coast IPA. Not aggressively squeakily bitter compared to, say, like a Bone Shaker, but wonderfully assertively bitter. And again, yeah, this really nice. I'm going with apricot-y, piney thing. It's interesting. It does kind of always, make me wonder about hop selection. I don't know if I'm going to find out from the can. If I had to guess, I would think it's Galaxy and Citra, but that's just a guess. Given the age, if they haven't changed the recipe, it could be something crazy. Like it could be like Columbus and Fuggles or something like that. Because this beer's been around for a while. I'm going to go to the can. That sounds like I have to go to the bathroom. Do I always say that? Did I only just notice it for the first time today? Hey, well, I got some good news and some bad news. The good news is there is some information on this can. The bad news is I've pretty much covered it. Well, yeah, we have a slight disagreement. Hey, there is wheat in it, though. This, by the way, is 7% alcohol. That's punchy. It does note it's a strong beer. Of course, in Ontario, anything over 5.5 is strong. It says pine citrus peel. Sorry, so pine/citrus peel/classic. I mean, I don't disagree with it being classic, and there is definitely pine and citrus peel. I'm going, like I say, apricot. It does say barley and wheat, also in French if you'd prefer that. Oh, that's actually really interesting. I just happened to see the date code. Again, because I ordered this on Uber Eats from the beer store. Total crapshoot. This is old. It was packaged on April the 23rd. So it's like fully 2.5 months old, which for an IPA, it's actually holding up pretty well. Again, West Coast tends to be a little bit more travel-y, little timier. But the fact that I'm getting that nice little apricot-y pop kind of makes me wish I'd got one a little fresher and see how much more aromatic it is. Because that, of course, is the first thing that goes in the IPA, is the aromatics. The aromatics. This is really good. Oh, yeah. Very enjoyable West Coast IPA. Now, I know there was that time 7 years ago when everybody was kind of like, I'm over IPAs. What's up with IPAs? Why has everything got to be so bitter? Stupid IPAs, blah, blah, blah. Right? I think that's kind of come down now. Or if like somebody says that, it's like, yeah, where were you for the past couple of years? If you're one of those people, this beer might not be for you. But if you think you are, but you're not sure, you might want to try this because it could surprise you. It is bitter, but there's a lot going on. And it is not bitter for bitterness's sake, which is nice. This is Headstock IPA from Brook Brewing. As noted, available at the beer store via Uber Eats. That's how I got it. I know it is also available at the LCBO. And as noted, I don't particularly see it at my local grocery store, but that doesn't mean that you don't see it at yours. Also, available at Brook Brewing, which is in Burlington. So if you're out towards the end of the lake, you could pick it up. Yeah, and it's worth picking up. What are you going to eat while you have this? Well, I mean, this is, again, a fairly bitter, boozy, at 7% alcohol, IPA West Coast. This does lend itself towards that spicier side of things. But that nice little apricot-y note, you might not want to go too crazy with this one. You might not go too crazy with it. This probably isn't screaming for like a hot chicken sandwich. That might be a bit much. I did just have the classic Thai curry, green fish curry for dinner. It would probably be okay, but I'm not saying it would be the best. I feel like that apricot's really actually asking for something like pork related. So like maybe just some nice barbecue probably would work pretty well. I don't think you'd be upset with that. Yeah. And then, the usual suspects on cheese. You want something with a bit more verve, a nice cheddar or something like that, something with some pop to it to keep up with this. Dankness would help if you let maybe a cloth bound or a cave ripened. That would obviously be simpatico with the dankness from the hops. Yeah, it doesn't say what the hops are. I wonder if Brook's website says that. If we go Brook Headstock, take me there. They say on their website, which is loading, they want to know whether or not, first of all, I want free shipping. I don't. Am I 19? I am. Yeah, they say melody of pine and grapefruit notes that perfectly harmonizes with the undertones of the refreshing hot bitterness, because of course they're making references to music. No information. No, just some attractive photos. And I can order it. Well, that wasn't helpful. I would like to know what the hops are in there. I'm curious. Given its age, it kind of predates the Citra and everything, but I'm also aware that brewers tend to tweak recipes, and I would be surprised to discover that there isn't Citra in there. Very surprised. Delicious. Buy it. Enjoy it. Especially if you think, I'm not 100% sure if I dislike hoppy beers as much as I think I dislike hoppy beers. Then try it, because you might really like it. It's not crazy. A lot of pleasing things happening here. Hey, we got some beer news, which is amazing. Paying attention. Oh, it's funny. The beer news, incidentally, part of the reason why I know about it is because I follow Milosh on Instagram, but also because Ben Johnson's been talking about it. Host of that other beer podcast. It's a good one. You should listen to it. Incidentally, and as an aside, I believe Ben Johnson once said that this here beer, Headstock, was the best regularly available West Coast IPA in the province. That was quite some time ago. I wonder if he still feels that way. He's not watching live right now, so we will never know. Unless he answers in his podcast, which I only listen to sometimes. So we'll have to see. We will have to see. Ben Johnson did once, I believe, call this the best regularly available IPA, West Coast IPA in the province. Anyway, Ben Johnson keeps going on about this event, as he should, as does Pub Milosh. Godspeed's even mentioned it because they're going to be there. What is it we're talking about? They're having a big old lager fest down at Milosh Craft Beer Emporium. Is that what it's properly called? I've kind of lost track. Milosh's in London. Pros. It's going to be wall-to-wall amazing lagers with like everyone that you care about is going to be there. Cons. It's in London. That's a con. It's not the good London. It's just the Ontario London, which is just fine. It's not the good London. To be fair, though, it's a lot easier to get to if you want to go to the lager thing. It's a much shorter drive to London, Ontario than to London, England. London, England, unless you're driving an aeroplane or a boat, you're not going to get there. So you, and also don't drive, because this is going to be the kind of event where we'll drive and get an Airbnb or a hotel room and then go to Miloš and enjoy all the lagers. That is this weekend. I am told I am not going to be attending, which is sad, but let's be honest, like if that event were happening in Toronto, it might be a hard call for me to get out for that. London, it's just never going to happen. That's crazy talk. London. But if you are in the London area listening to this podcast, I would encourage you to do two things. One, go to that event, look up Miloš Craft Beer Emporium or whatever the hell it's called these days. You will not be sorry. Two, listen to Ben Johnson's podcast, Beer and Bullshit, with Chris Pellerin. Is that his last name? He has the same first name as me. That's the only part that matters to me. And I know it's a different last name. He doesn't have the same last name as me. That would be weird. Anyway, they have a good podcast. I endorse it. They recorded it in a proper podcast studio last week. I did listen to a lot of that one. I don't think all of it. I can't remember why. Anyway, those would be the two things I would do if I were you in London. But I'm not. I am me in Toronto. I'm just going to look at the photos on Instagram and probably drink cans of Czechvar to, solidarity. Because I got you. Anyway, hey, kids. Oh, it's a short one. Not a bad way to start a season, though. Let's just knock it in the head there. I've still got my contacts in if you're not watching the video. And they're kind of driving me crazy. I want to take them out. I'd like to finish this beer in peace. The dog's not going to walk herself. I always say that. She probably would. But we'll take her out anyway. Hey, kids. Good to be back. Good to be back. What did we learn tonight? Headstock IPA from Brook, still a banger. Get it wherever you get good beer. Good event happening at Miloš's this weekend. If you're in the London area and like lager and delicious things, go check it out. And welcome back, season 13, baby. Let's have Rob Curry and the Curry Brothers, like always, take us out. Have a good night.